Good morning, Life and Mission Agency and
The Life and Mission Agency faithfully serves the Presbyterian Church in Canada, responding to the day-to-day needs of churches. Susan, an elder from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, is interested in social justice issues and wants to know how the PCC responds to refugee concerns in Canada. Her name is put through to Justice Ministries, where Catherine Masterton explains the advocacy work that the church is doing for refugees. Catherine refers Susan to the Social Action Handbook to learn more about what General Assemblies have said about immigration and refugee issues. The work of Justice Ministries, led by Stephen Allen, also includes healing and reconciliation, sustainability concerns, human rights, and the International Affairs Committee. Susan then learns that Presbyterian World Service and Development is also very involved with refugee issues. She speaks with Carolyn Vanderlip about how her congregation would go about sponsoring a refugee to Canada. PWS&D, under the direction of Ken Kim, is the relief and development agency within the PCC. It works with partners all over the world on issues like disaster relief, HIV/AIDS reduction, education, and food and water security. In the African country of Malawi, for example, PWS&D's partners work alongside our own overseas mission staff, who are supported through the International Ministries Office. Susan speaks to Ron Wallace and learns that IM has staff in 16 countries around the world, all supported by Presbyterians sharing. Margaret Zondo tells Susan that she could invite one of those missionaries to her congregation to speak about the PCC's overseas work. In just a few minutes, Susan now has a list of action items that she can take back to her session to get her congregation more engaged in the work of the church. Of course, the various departments and offices within the LMA don't work alone. Throughout the day, LMA staff work together to serve the church, collaborating on resources, coordinating international projects, and completing all of the administration that supports the work. The LMA itself doesn't work alone, but relies on the cooperation of its many partners in Canada and around the world. John has just called in to the national office. In addition to ministering to his own congregation, he's the interim moderator of another. John's chatting with Jackie Zagletti in the Ministry and Church Vocations office about getting the search process underway with a congregational profile and vacancy listing. Along with assisting the call process, MCV, led by Susan Schaefer, administers the ordination process for new ministers and ministers coming from outside the PCC. MCV also handles issues related to the church's sexual abuse and harassment policy. John recognizes that the congregation under his care needs a website. He speaks with Matt Donnelly in the communications office about getting the new church set up on the PCC web system that his own congregation already uses. The communications office, led by Colin Carmichael, manages the graphic design and production of print resources, as well as the various web properties of the church. While on the pccweb.ca website with Matt, John notices an ad for the Congregations in Transition resource produced by Canadian Ministries The Vine. CMV supports mission and ministry across the country by providing resources, funding, and advice for congregations, presbyteries, church plants, and specialized and native ministries. CMV also produces the Equipping 4 series of articles that appear in the quarterly PC Pack and online at equipping4.ca. John has used the session starters that have been included in the past and reminds himself to look for more online. John knows that he needs to address some stewardship concerns in his own congregation, so he speaks to Karen Plater, who leads the stewardship office. Karen gives John a list of resources that can be found on the national website and encourages him to register his congregation for the upcoming Stewards by Design conference. The Stewardship Office also prepares resources related to mission education and Presbyterian sharing, and helps churches organize mission trips to visit Canadian and international partners. The Planned Giving Office, led by Herb Gale, is also involved with stewardship. It deals specifically with the ways that congregations and the national church can make use of planned gifts, like to provide financial stability to mission and evangelism work in Canada and around the world. Susan and John each now have a list of concrete action items that can be taken back to their own communities and acted upon with the support of the Life and Mission Agency. They know that the LMA staff are just a phone call or email away as they work to build their ministries in the weeks and months to come.
All across the country, Presbyterians are out there proclaiming the love of Christ and inviting their communities to experience that love. The Life and Mission Agency is there to be of service in all of these ministries. Give us a phone call, send us an email, let us know how we can be of service to you in your ministry.